Good morning and welcome to the Capital Gang. I am Oscar Semoyamsoke, and as one of the listeners says, a little bit late, but yeah, there's nothing as awful as being late and you tackle those Kamocha traffic lights. In the studio, I have Honorable Emmanuel Dombo. I don't know what to say of your dress codes because NRM elections are done. He's in
like a jacket. I
have failed to make up what, but let him first finish the samosa because he's not been here for a while.
This is the fifth.
This is the fifth?
Yes. Actually started at the entrance, took two there, put two in his jacket, and then he's smashing.
But you don't need to say anything, Honorable Dombo. Your time will come after you're done with the samosas.
It has been a while.
Yes. Honorable Semuju is here in a smart suit. I'm not sure if that will get votes in Chira, but very smart. You're most
but I usually campaign in a suit and a tie.
You campaign in a suit and tie?
Yeah.
And my village people we give you votes?
They are very happy with it.
Okay.
Even dances in a suit.
Mr. Maneman of NUP, Benjamin Katana is here. You're most welcome.
A pleasure, Oscar.
Yes.
It's always a pleasure to be part of this show.
Okay. And I have Chira people here. Dr. Joseph Walusimbi is in the studio. Yeah. You're most welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's a pleasure.
Yes. He wants to be my mayor.
Indeed.
In Chira. So we wish you well. This is the first time I'll know a mayor.
Yes.
Outside the one of Kampala that I know well, but in Chira, my village, at least I'll have a walk in.
Just know that Chira is well represented because I'm here with the Honorable Semuju, who keeps looking at me across the table.
Because I didn't realize until this morning that he had nominated.
That this is the man. UCC keeps saying that moderators shouldn't be biased, but most of the time I invite guests that I'm biased towards. So, Semuju, I wish you well. Dr. Olusimbi, I wish you well. Then we have a special guest here. I sometimes tease him as Double J. You're most welcome back to the Capital Gang, to the Capital Radio.
Thank you.
Alan Kasuja.
Thank you very much, Oscar.
Yes. What madness befell you, Alan? Finishing work at the BBC, leaving that country and coming back to live in Uganda?
Despite what you might think, it's okay to leave and to do other things. You know, it's.
You speak for yourself. When you say it's okay to leave,
I'm not.
Dombo will not listen to that one.
Yeah, neither will Semuju, but it's okay to move on. I think after 13 years of doing what I was doing, I was sick. I was tired. What else is there for me to do? And that's the question that I'm pondering at the moment.
Yeah. You're in a country that has people with 40 years and a mere 13, you get tired.
Exactly.
This job may not have been as enjoyable as the one of 40 years.
And you've interviewed heads of state, you've interviewed all these important people. You started that podcast that's so good. I follow it. I get updates, Africa Daily.
Yeah.
And, do you miss it?
I miss a lot of things, but it's also time to build.
Yeah.
You go to the BBC. I went to the BBC to learn. It was 13 years of an education. How does the world really work? And now is the time to build the things that you learned. There's no point in staying there forever if your intention is to come back and have an impact.
Yeah. Well, Semuju left the media and you went to lucrative after 10 years. And for you went into lucrative positions. You took up MP, went to Parliament. The money is better than journalism.
Very lucrative.
Yes.
Before I even went to Parliament, swear I was in Ruzira. B2 Maxon.
Yeah.
I want to invite you to come to this lucrative business. I have been at all police stations here detained. Jinja Road, Chira Road, Nagarama, Rubaga, Kawempe, and others. Mbarara, Liantonde. So, Oscar, can I give you an open invitation? You come and join this lucrative business.
Then who will do this work?
But Alan did it one time.
Ofono has joined you.
Yes.
So I invite you this work, you can come. Before I entered Parliament, I was in
He doesn't want to hand over management to all of this program.
I was in Ruzira. I have twice been kidnapped from, actually 3 times, kidnapped from that Parliament, beaten by police, by SFC. This is very lucrative, Oscar. I want to invite you, please come and join.
So has everybody else been beaten like you? Why you? Why has everybody else been kidnapped?
You ask Katana if he has survived.
Isn't it a case of choices made?
No, you have another one here. He can tell you. Even Dombo here, at one time he was hiding.
But I think the question is, for me, as far as I'm concerned, is there a way of avoiding all these things? Well,
so the question you're asking, I can't be the one to answer. But Dombo was hiding. Museveni said they're hiding in my parliament. I'll get them. So you go to Wario Munsi. I don't know whether Yomoki survived. Dombo was under the bed.
But Katana himself, tell us about that. I saw you viral. So finally you got a hit. And in viral of all places.
Well, I think it's and Alan was asking if it can be avoided. I think it's not a question of avoiding. It's a question of the environment in which we operate. When it is raining, you can choose to hide in the house, but when you get out of the house, you will still find the mud. So I think the bigger question is about collectively working towards an environment. We are holding views like the ones of the Honorable Semuju, or steering the storm like Dombo did at that time, does not necessarily qualify you to be beaten or arrested unless you have committed a crime. But even when you have committed a crime, you still maintain your rights to dignity and fair treatment. So therefore, I think it's not about who chooses to be treated how. It should be the laws of the land that guide who should be treated how.
But you haven't said what did you do to get a soldier shoving a gun into you?
I didn't do anything other than being in Uganda and participating in a political process and exercising my right to choose a candidate of my choice and moving with him to participate in a campaign. I did not do anything. That's why I have not been charged. And the police officer approached our car and asked us to get out. I got out. I asked him why. I'm sure you saw the video in the most polite manner. And he chose to assault me in response to my question. Just like it has been a case with many people, there's nobody who has been arraigned in court for beating a citizen that I am. And police has been silent on the matter, which clearly shows that the actions of the police officer, much as they would want to present it as errant behavior of an isolated officer, it shows you that it is sanctioned and it is the standard practice that people who ordinarily should be doing enforcement have the leeway to break the law and get away with it.
Well, I as Alan was asking, I felt for you because, you know, when you're party treasurer, you're mostly back office. So the first time you go out on the road, you get a taste of what Semuju is talking about. We wish you well.
Thank you.
Moses Beranga is in the studio, but I know he doesn't comment on things like that.
Why?
Probably he didn't see the video. Did you see the video where a soldier attacked Benjamin Katana, Moses? I told you.
I now trust you know him.
I was pretty sure that he did not see that video.
No. Let me take the meaning of what you have said, and I want to confirm that you actually know more.
No, when you are doing the nitty-gritty of the like planning for the campaign structure, you may not have time for all the videos around the social media. So because there are bigger things to be worked on.
You need to help listeners that Moses has avoided controversy by pretending he hasn't seen.
But you won't speak for
So
me.
when something bad happens, as you rightly said, he will say, I didn't see. Because then you can't ask him to comment.
Semuju,
Benjamin.
I didn't see that, and I'm telling you the truth.
Benjamin.
I didn't see it.
Right now.
You can give it. If you had posted it on our forum, when me and you are on Capital Gang forum, I would have watched it, but I didn't see it.
I'll post it. For you.
And that's a fact.
Yeah, I'll post
So
it for you so that you watch it.
if you are engaged in some controversy with the police, or the police engaged in controversy with you, that's bad. It should be handled within the confines of the law.
Right. So NUP Manifesto, I have a copy of a NUP Manifesto and I've shared it around the table.
Promised me a copy.
I'm going to share.
But the 11 priority areas. Priority number 1 is freedom. What do you mean, and why start with that one as priority number 1?
Well, I think freedom.
I like number 3, you say national unity. I like you in NUP because you don't look like NUP people. You know what I mean. Most people think NUP people don't look like you. They look like Walusimbi next to you.
Can you just clarify that? What do I look like?
You look like a man from Chira.
Describe it in detail.
Let him talk about his priorities. Yeah.
I come from Kira as well.
Right.
The man has 2 people here to convince. For
3 myself.
Yes. So basically, freedom is part of the bigger pillar on restoration of rule of law, constitutionalism, and freedom. And the background, like we are running this campaign under the theme of a new Uganda. And the example you just cited of a police officer assaulting me is just a small aspect of the bigger and fundamental deficit in rights and freedoms of citizens. Rights and freedoms of citizens are critical because they are part of our inheritance as mankind. And for the case of Uganda, when the people of Uganda came together to make a constitution, which much as it has been diluted, remains the minimum consensus that we signed with the state of Uganda, is one of the core fundamental aspects of our rights as people of Uganda. But to date, you have people in this day and age, you have people who are being subjected to enforced disappearances. Just a few months ago, a citizen, Sam Mugumya, was picked from the streets of Mbarara. To date, nobody has accounted for his whereabouts. Some time back, the 2 Kenyans who disappeared, and the state of Uganda, through its decorated army officers, deponed affidavits, presented them in court through the Land Attorney General, and said these people may have disappeared on their own, and this was even ratified by court. But later on, the head of state, who is the commander-in-chief, came out and said we have been keeping these people in the fridge. We have Dr. Besije, the manner in which he was, and Hajo Bed, the manner in which they were picked from Kenya and brought to Uganda, and up to date they have not been subjected to a fair trial. You have the 18 people, supporters of NUP, who have been missing, including John Bosco Chibarama, Damulira, and the rest.
I saw Nalutaya was arrested again.
Olivia Rutaya. You have people who were arrested in 2021 who have been detained to date without being subjected to a trial. You have people being forced off their land by rich and connected people. But all this is happening when you have a dysfunctional judicial system. You have a dysfunctional dispute resolution system. So all these are very important aspects of what makes a country very dear to its citizens, but also creates an environment for citizens to do so many things, including participating in national development.
You seem to have packed a lot in just that priority number 1.
Because they are interconnected.
Freedom. But before I allow others to also have a discussion, I I see free meals in schools.
Yes.
And then I've seen another one on stop land grabbing. These are, I know they're happening, but are they worthy of a political party manifesto?
The school feeding program that we are proposing is largely focused on a number of areas. It is, first of all, boosting agriculture. Agriculture remains one of the leading economic activities in Uganda. Employs almost 79% of the workforce. But the benefits to the farmer are minimal. So the idea is that we are going to, it is a multi-sectoral, multi-disciplinary kind of concept that you have the Ministry of Education, for example, where we are going to work with these schools and PTA associations that we are going now to boost, mobilize parents and teachers associations, but also organize farmers under cooperative societies to make sure that you turn these homesteads or households into production centers, that you're going to be sourcing these eggs, the milk from the households. Today, I think DDA, before it was mainstreamed to the Ministry of Agriculture, according to statistics, they were projecting that Uganda now, the milk production stands at about 5 billion. But FAO, I think, has put it at about 3.8 billion. But if you go to the cattle keeping communities, they are struggling with milk prices because there is no market. They are even pouring milk in some seasons. A litre is going at 500 shillings. So the idea is that the primary school in Zimbabwe, for example, if you're saying that the children every day are going to get a cup of milk, that the milk is going to be sourced from these households. So you want parents' associations to work with the schools and cooperatives, because why we need these cooperatives is to also work on things like quality assurance, but also to help farmers in sourcing of all the necessary raw materials, you'd call them, that are needed at the farm. Okay. But so you want to create market, you want to keep the children in school because they are not running out of school because of hunger. Because if you look at the dropout rates now vis-a-vis the people who start school, in some areas 68% don't complete P7, and one of the causes is that they are running away from hunger. The parents do not have money to pay at school, the school is not able to feed them, and so they end up running away. So you want to boost household incomes, you want to keep children in school and healthy and more productive, but you also want to prevent diseases, because children who are feeding well, they are not more prone to diseases. Yes.
Let's pause for a minute now. Start with Moses here, who is the manifesto man in the NRM. And since Semuja said, I know you well, Moses, you say that this is more like a wish list by Katana's party.
Well, on freedom, with the 2 points I talked about, it has been our duty as NRM and continue maintaining and promoting the rule of law, separation of powers between the parliament, which makes laws, the executive, which proposes them, and the judiciary, which does the adjudication. So far, I think we're moving on well. Where the incidents of when people talk about people being arrested, but they don't talk about the reason why they're arrested. Now, if there are excesses here and there, those will be dealt with. But on the whole, Uganda
kidnaps.
Uganda is running well. Running well on rule of law. Sometimes, when you talk about the incident, during this campaign time, when you find that altercations between the police and maybe the politicians, sometimes we look at the police, but we don't look at the side of the politicians making the wrong. For instance, I represent candidate Museveni at the EC meetings. In one of the meetings at the EC, the director of operations played a video where you would see one of the political parties, the way they were behaving on the roads and so forth was really uncouth behavior, if I may put it so. Now, when the police comes to stop it, don't do this, and the other says we shall do it, then you get into some of those altercations. I think, Katana, you were there that day, or your colleague, but it was really bad to see how the party was behaving on the road. So sometimes when we make these allegations on the police, we don't look at the side of the person being talked about, how they behaved. What the police, the provocation, not only provocation, it's just if you're in breach of law or traffic laws, you have covered the entire road and so forth. So police saying no, do like this, say no, we are not doing it that way. So we also want to give benefit to the police. Sometimes they make mistakes, but many times also our politicians make mistakes. Now,
but then Moses, I've seen some of your party rallies, and they block the road completely.
They should be stopped.
How is it okay for you?
Like which one? We have not had a presidential rally in the road. Never.
No, but
no.
The supporters.
No.
The supporters have closed the road.
They should be stopped.
On the road and
this one wasn't just supporters. In fact, the video they showed us, I think Chagulanyi was going to Jinja through the Kayonga route. They even had accidents, vehicles knocking each other within the same convoy. And about 4 people lost their limbs. It was that bad. So you wouldn't encourage that because the other people have done it. We also do it. It's bad. And whoever does it is bad. Whether NRM or NUP or any other candidate is bad. So on the question of school feeding, I wish Mr. Katana or any other person in his party can talk about the costing of it. Because it's very easy to say we shall feed children with eggs and so forth, and at the same time, we are not looking at the financial implication. It's good to give us a costed way so that we understand what we can now discuss it in detail. Because if you say we shall feed children, okay, fine, it's good to feed children. No, everybody will want that. But at what cost? You know, when I was saying here, I think he's the shadow minister of finance or something like that, or he has been one. But at least I know he sits on the budget committee. Now he can give you the insights. Yes, but yes, fine. But let us put it on paper and say the school feeding program will cost so much. The wastage we shall save from here and put it here, because we can have a cost. For everything has a cost to it. But just merely talking about if we want to do school feeding, it can be good for the ears, at the same time be not able to implement it because it has a cost to it.
Well, what does school feeding mean? What is that?
Giving children
but what does that even
food.
Mean? What does that look like?
Because at the end of the day, for us, our line has been, where we put emphasis is to get people out of poverty through a program like PDM, which so far has reached in about 3.5 million households in the country, in 3.5 million households in the country. Because every year you give out about 1 million. If you're giving out 1 million households, if each one is getting 1 million, so you should have simple calculations also. You know, you didn't do well in math. I don't know, I really do well in math.
Yes.
But at least 1 trillion, when one is getting 1 million, it goes to 1 million people. Surely, you should know that. Now, on that one, the NUP are saying, at least their president candidate said so when he was in Usoga, that they want to abolish PDM. Now, if you want to abolish, for us, we're saying PDM is going to help households get out of poverty. And by getting out of poverty, because one thing you are saying you want to feed children at school, but are they feeding at home? Let us first look at the entire superstructure of where this child lives. If the children from 4 families, let's first get the families out of poverty through a program like PDM, which is doing well, than those who are going to say they're going to abolish it.
Emmanuel Dombo, you've been quiet for a while.
Breathing in and out.
Are you pleased that you know, when we discussed the NRM manifesto, we had Dr. Yusuf Serunkuma.
Yes, we did.
And he did not want NUP to even have a manifesto. He said there's only one, in his opinion, enemy is remove NRM. President Museveni. It should be the only word in the manifesto. But are you pleased that at least NUP has a manifesto?
First of all, I want to congratulate them that from finally they are getting organized. Because this is how parties must behave. They must come out with a plan of what they intend to do. And for them to how I wish I could get a copy, so that I have a fair understanding in detail of what
I've given you
the
the brief, but I'll send you a copy.
I have ours here. You can see the abridged one.
Yeah.
Protecting the gains. I want to give it to my brother Katana, so that he can
Moses gave me a copy,
so that he can gain the compare notes. But I want to tell you, freedom is good, but a manifesto must be addressing problems and challenges that we are facing as a country.
But what he has described the problems we are facing.
Because at times when they are talking, they talk as if being nominated or being a party president is an immunization against being arrested. You know, rule of law does not mean prevention of arrest. Rule of law includes arresting people who are breaking the law.
Due process, not
because
that is fridge.
That is part of the due process. Otherwise, how will you get them if you don't arrest them? They may improve on change the nomenclature by calling it abduction, or the other word is what? Abduction, kidnap. Yes. Those are the words that they deliberately use in order to bias the minds of the people. But once you're a citizen of Uganda and you breach the law, you must be told there will be consequences. So, if somebody has been arrested legitimately, right now somebody rang me from Kigezi, because we are going to Kigezi next week, and somebody was asking about the issue of our brother Kanokiza Besija. He said, let the law take its course and let the progressive government bring out evidence. They're wondering whether this is a simple matter or it is a matter that will affect us. I said, no.
It's a year now.
It is an important matter, but let the due process be done. So, on the freedoms, government will continue doing what it should. But I want to tell you that let us also teach every citizen that they must do their civic responsibilities properly in the country. The second one,
before you go to the second one, we have live examples on top of Dr. Bessie. Sam Mugumya. There's matters of a basement, and now we've added fridge into the language. So these things are, you know them.
Oscar, one of the things I've noted when I've been in politics is that there is what they call statecraft, and this happens in all nations. And whether you like it or not, whether you're in the US, they have mechanisms on which either they get access to the information that they need, whether it is Tony Blair sending people in Iraq and doing the work. Statecraft, there is a way state operates, but must have the minimum standards of operating within the law and must be checked by those who are mandated by the law, like the members of parliament, to ensure if there is breach, then the members of parliament must call either the ministers or the law enforcers to order, because they are likely to breach some of the things. You have had the Minister of Justice, Minister of Internal Affairs, Honorable Kaindo Tafire himself coming up and ranting against some of the things that have been done. So, it does a continuous process. Let everybody do their responsibilities, the ministers, the government, those enforcing the law, but also those who are representing the people like members of parliament. They should ably do their work so that the excesses are controlled. On the issue of feeding the children, that's a good program, but it seems the NUP, they do a lot of reading literature from the NRM, because this is a program which was discussed by Moses, you remember last time during the manifesto, but because of what Moses has said, that government decided that why are children not being able, people not being able to support themselves or support their children? It's basically because of poverty. So government chose that the first struggle or the first area they must allocate funds for us in the national resistance movement is to get rid of poverty, because once people have been empowered and have gotten rid of poverty, they should be able to feed their children at home. They could also be able to feed their children in school. Recently in Karamoja, a journalist asked the president, and the president did concur with the local journalists in Karamoja to say that going forward, in order to keep some of the children in Karamoja in school and also give them affirmative action, this is something that may be done specifically starting with Karamoja, so that we can keep those children in school, because they keep shifting, they're a bit nomadic, the feeding is not enough, the children who started primary, they may not complete P7. So government may want to come up with that. It is a good program, but seems, I thought that was erecting it from the national resistance movement.
And so they should. You're the people in power.
Already in Karamoja, the program has been implementing, having boarding schools to ensure that we retain children in schools other than going to nomadic life. So when they're in boarding schools, they are fed.
Yeah. Alan, you come from a society, media houses, where they ask people like Emmanuel Dombo, and you ask them questions, and they say they are not aware of kidnaps or disappearances, when everyone else is aware, or as Moses Biarahanga says he has not seen that video. And you know, what will you take of this campaign in Uganda?
I forget sometimes that there's an ongoing campaign, which is a good thing. It's a very good thing, because no, it's true. I forget very often that there's an ongoing campaign. It's dull, it's dead, it's boring, which is all good, because exactly, because something there is not is different this time. Because if you compare it to where we were in the last election, now we'd be dominating headlines all over the world. I take a very cynical view to the politics of Uganda today and the politicians in it. I tend to be pessimistic. I don't, even NRM as a party, as a formation, I don't know what it is. If it is NRMO, or what it stands for. If you asked me in 1990, I knew who these guys were, what they read, what their influences were. You might be one of the last few cadres, Moses. But now you have a whole bunch of swindlers and thieves, influence peddlers and crooks looking for opportunities to advance what they're doing. And I can say the same about the opposition. What are they doing? What do they stand for? What are they pushing for? Are they really pushing new ideas? Are they looking to see changes? Because I've looked through the manifesto of NUP, and it's well crafted, it's well thought out, but it's not earth-shattering. It's not telling me anything new. It may as well be an NRM manifesto. It may as well be one that, because NRM will tell you, fundamental freedom, we are advancing that. We are fighting corruption. We are consolidating national unity. We are guaranteeing equal access to quality public service. These are things that NRM will also try to advance. So for me, I just think that what Uganda needs is a fresh set of eyes, like a whole bunch of new politicians who think differently. We need a Deng Xiaoping moment where we have the fundamentals and we could either mess them up or see the opportunity that exists and take it to the next level. And that for me is not going to be done by a bunch of careerists who are looking for jobs and not necessarily looking to advance our country. Because by and large, that's what I see in a lot of the politics and the politicians. School feeding, good point about poverty being alleviated at home. But also, some of these schools have land that is not being used for anything. Probably a solution could be to not just sell it, not sell the land. It could be to turn that into agricultural, encourage them to grow their own food.
And feed about 600 students.
Well, it's not an aberration. Then if you're looking for examples, Nairobi is feeding kids every day. Nairobi City is feeding kids every day. Anyway, the point I'm making is I think there is a need to sort of reset our politics and bring some fresh thinking into it that will get us to the next level. I don't see that happening now. I'm not convinced by any of the politicians that are saying anything at the moment.
Well, Joseph Olusimbi, Dr. Joseph Olusimbi is a new politician. He's going in new. And have you looked at the NUP manifesto?
Yes, I have.
I've shared some notes. But do you also have your own manifesto?
Yes, I do. When do you want it now? I can share it.
Yes. Yeah. But let's start with the NUP.
Yes.
What do you like out of NUP manifesto? And are there anything that you can use as our mayor in Chira?
Well, the question of
doesn't say
liking that's not the issue for me. Like Alan has said, what's new? One of the things that really piqued my eye was about the theme of empowering regional and local governance through real devolution, bringing about regional government, central, east, north, west. And in my mind, I was like, okay, what is it really going to change? I know there is this discussion of, there are so many districts now in terms of governance. That's an issue. So I don't really see how this is going to address the current issue of service delivery at the local government level. Because at the end of the day, we have to think about the person out there, okay? What do they want? In the government circles, this whole thing of now creating regional governments, to me, it's like duplication again. It doesn't really change much. What I would have wanted to see is how is central government going to deal with local government to ensure that service delivery is taken to another level. And what Alan said is that governance now needs a fresh set of ideas, people. Just to tell you on a light note, when I decided to run for mayor, Chira municipality on an independent ticket, I was asked by quite a number of my people that, hey, you decided to get into this thing, are you serious? But you know this whole politics thing. I told them, look, someone needs to do this. Now, let me talk about this theme of governance from the Chira municipality angle. And one of the things I always start with is I tell people, look, according to the development plan of Chira municipality, we are going to be 2.5 million residents in about 14 years. Right now, we are almost 500,000. So just picture that alone, and it tells you that there's a lot that needs to be done going forward. Gone are the days where we say, you know, we have done this in education, we have done this in health. Can we touch the pertinent issues here? Okay, we need to touch those issues. And I miss to see the issue of youth in these manifestos, because the youth are really, you'll point us there, but the youth are really a big issue. What are we doing about them?
The only issue.
You know, and if I talk about Chira municipality, they are growing in numbers. So if you're talking about 2.5 million residents in the next 14 years, they are going to be the majority. And if we don't work on them through various forms of service delivery and empowerment, there is going to be an explosion. We need to deal with it. We need to see these things well stipulated in manifestos.
One of the reasons, it's good you said someone has got to go in there. We at Chigo Thinkers, we have a paper on where to find a good politician. But as Semuju says, many times, many people, you and me, we fear to go into that politics because we know that they are going to you might get beaten,
to be caned and
everything.
Fingers.
I mean, you saw the NRM primaries. That was, you know.
Yes, it was disappointing, I must say.
Yes,
but,
Dombo was there. I think he was one of the supervisors. And he would come here and he would be speechless. And do those things make people fear getting into politics?
Yes, I can tell you that they do. I think already people are picturing me with broken fingers, scarred face. But if we let fear drive this, then who's going to lead? That's the question. Who's going to lead? You know, have you had this issue of that? Oh, look at these kind of people who are leading this place or that place. This is disappointing. So I asked them, if you've seen that, what are you doing about it? So that's why I had to take a step and run for this position to really change things, because where we are heading now with all these municipalities, things are changing. Even the populations, they are demanding more. So if we still stick on the old game of, you know, we have done this, we have built schools, we have enlarged the classrooms, teachers' salaries have increased a bit, is that what we shall keep talking about? We are losing the ball here. Yeah, so.
Okay.
But where will the money come from?
Maybe that's also another point they need to think about. Where
the issue even shouldn't be about where the money should come from. How should it be allocated? Yeah. That's the issue.
Well, somebody says there's a lot of...
I just think, Oscar, I think there's some really big ideas here. Probably good ideas as well. But nobody's talking about the how.
Yeah.
No, nobody's talking about how you're going to do these things. Nobody's saying...
That is the easiest part. If Oscar could give us enough time, because
I will give you time.
you're talking about a manifesto of 200
Alan,
pages in 3 minutes.
Remember, Moses has said himself here that he has 1 million to give to so many people. So clearly there's some money.
On the issue of how, you know, this whole service delivery issue, and I keep getting a lot of comments that if service delivery is a key issue, local governments should be given more, not in terms of money only, but in terms of the governance, the decision making and all that. Currently, what the population is seeing is that a lot of these things are at central government level. Local government is not given that what can I call it, put in a position whereby they can actually do good service delivery. So that how is really about starting to change those dynamics.
Okay.
And can we get a public holiday for these local government elections really? Because we need these people to vote.
When
Some
is
of them,
this?
27th is when municipal mayors are to be, voted for. But I don't think it's a public holiday. No.
February.
Yeah, but
27th of February.
of January.
Of January.
Yeah, but there should be public holidays
Government
because
has listened. The ceremony
isn't it too late to change?
So Moses can affect the Electoral Commission dates?
I really hope so.
Good question. But
with ease.
with ease.
Electoral commissions doesn't determine public holidays. Public holidays are determined by government through parliament.
But at least the point has gone across. We need them to be public holidays.
Honorable
So to get as many voters to come out as possible.
A lot has been talked about freedom, and in some ways you alluded to that at the beginning. But national unity, when NUP says they want to promote national unity as their priority 3, is it a good priority? And for you, how would you understand that?
Oscar, let me begin with the money. I am the Minister of Finance in Katana's government. So let me reinforce.
They put the candidate against you.
It does not matter. Don't become diversionary.
Always
I sit on the
bastardizing
budget
conversation.
committee. Let me just run through these figures very quickly. In the budget, you have 8.3 trillion shilling, which is salaries and wages of 400,000 government workers. The other DCs, the Moses Yaranga, whose main job actually is to write M7’s Manifesto. All these are employed by government, including myself. So 8.3 trillion, you pay people, including those who are doing nothing. You have travel inland, 976 billion. Allowances for people who, at a parliamentary level, each time you are out, you are given 400,000, sleep in a hotel. Even when you go to inspect nothing. 900. You have consultants, 633 billion. Special meals and drinks, 494 billion. Fuel for government vehicles, like the one of Moses Biaranga, 450 billion. Workshops and seminars, 296 billion. Welfare and entertainment, 207 billion. Research expenses, 183 billion. Vehicle maintenance, 171 billion. Donation, 168 billion. Advertising and public relations, 142 billion. Travel abroad, 138 billion. Residential buildings, 127 billion. Vehicle acquisition, 96 billion. Books and newspapers, 70. So the total of this is 12 trillion, Oscar. Anyone in government, and we've made these proposals to them, but they don't listen. There was a time M7 said, I've discovered all these things, they're going to disappear from the budget. He brought another budget, he had actually included more. So the money is there, not enough, but all of us who are in politics need to understand that the day M7 leaves, you are going to inherit problems. Look, the budget of 72 trillion that M7 presents every year, last financial year, public debt, servicing public debt was 38 trillion. Anyone taking over from 7, you will have to pay that money. This year, you have 27 trillion, which is public debt servicing, more than the revenue that Uganda is collecting, because we average about 26 trillion every year. So these problems, all of us, I saw someone who said, I'm now going to give money to PDM, make it per village, and the total was about 7 trillion. So we'll need to be very careful. That's why you destabilize the government as soon as you take over government. Sometimes because you are promising that you cannot do. But the ones of feeding children, these are very simple things. Even Museveni had promised that he's going to be giving a liter of a milk per child. Moses, you remember? I don't know what happened to him. The one of education had promised to give sanitary towels. She abandoned. But for me, Oscar, now going back to the question that you asked me, I just wanted to help Dombo, who has left Parliament for some years now, to know that this money he left there is still there, but being wasted. The outline, I haven't read. Katana promised me a copy which he hasn't delivered. I'm going to chase him from Chira. The outline of the NUP, the outline of the NUP Manifesto is not very different from all the other manifestos. You need to take note of that. Even the one of NRM, apart from the theme and sloganeering about protecting the gains, the body and text,
expensive booklet.
The body and text is about the same thing. You just have to go back to the 10-point program of Museveni. Point number 1, democracy. If you look at the 10-point program, they also have national unity, they also have social services, the health and education, and so on and so forth. I have told people, for me, I don't need to write a manifesto. Even if you just pick the one of Museveni and implement it, the country will thank you. So the writing, because you have people who are educated, they are the same people. There is no difference between Katana and Beruhanga and myself and any other person. If you ask me to go and produce for you a manifesto in 3 hours, I just have to pick the one of Dombo and put there PFF. And then it will be a manifesto. Because you have the same aspirations. The implementation is the problem. What Beruhanga promises, I mean, you have a budget of 72 trillion. And you are giving 3.5 million poor people, because these are the ones who are poorest in Uganda. You are giving them 1 trillion. And you give 400,000 who already have. You give them 8 trillion. So who do you want to empower? Who do you want to empower? We are paying useless people. Even at Parliament you can reduce, because you are now spending about a trillion thing on Parliament. I mean, many of the MPs are useless. You can reduce that Parliament to less than a half. Presidential advisors, where you belong, you are about 130, including those who only see Museveni on TV, but they pick a salary, they have a vehicle, they have policemen. So the wastage, and it's not that Museveni doesn't know Oscar, he does. And you know, Museveni sometimes also speaks like his opposition. He will come and abuse all these things, insult everybody, and then he goes to, every day he appoints another presidential advisor. Now the latest, I think, is Bet coming. So the trouble for Uganda is actually not a manifesto. The discussion of this manifesto like we are doing now is alien to the population who go through numerous problems. Even the PDM money that Beruhanga speaks about, it's very good for campaigning. But the moment you carry it to the villages, they have school fees to pay, they have hospital bills to pick. If you give my mother, and I'm using my mother generally, 1 million shilling to take her out of poverty, and she has a senior 4 child who cannot sit because that child hasn't paid the registration, the next thing she will do is to pay registration. And she will remain where? You go back to the argument. One time I have attended many seminars by the Netherlands, by the Swedish, Uganda seminars in Nairobi, where they are taking journalists. And the question they are asking, Oscar, how comes every year we give aid to poor people, but they don't change? And we told you guys, you give us money, but we have hospital bills, we have this and that. So that's what the NRM is doing. You go to poor people and throw $1 million at him, the next thing he will be in the market buying him about, because the basic things haven't been resolved. Sometimes you give money to people, because if you read the report of the Auditor General, the people are not taught. So freedom for me becomes the main priority in this campaign, and democracy. One, because that's the reason for which Museveni went to fight. He didn't go to fight because the roads were very poor in Uganda. He went to fight because the elections were being cheated, which he's doing. He went to fight because people were disappearing. He now keeps them in a fridge. So we all want to fight. It's the same reason that Uganda itself was founded. People telling the colonialists we are doing it better than us, go away, we want to rule ourselves, even if we misrule ourselves. So that becomes an unresolved issue. Since Uganda became a state in 1962, one bunch of group takes power, it serves itself, it brutalizes everybody else, and then it will tell you now, no, don't look at freedom, look at the roads, look at the schools we have built. If you brought here M7, he will tell you, the last time he was here, he was telling you he came when there were no settlements after Murago. Say, now all settlements in Murago, and so that is the issue for which people have fought. Dombo, you are still disappearing people, and for you, wisely, you say now every state in the world does. So should we really celebrate that Americans have prisons in Guantanamo Bay? That's a good for you. That's what you benchmark in America. Bad things. Why are you not talking about the good thing the Americans are doing? For you pick on the bad thing to justify yours here. So Besigye is in Ruzira. I went to see him. No young men are there. The only crime is that they are putting on something red. That's why when you are picking them on their way to Mbarara, everybody who was in red had to be picked, whether you had committed a crime. So later on, red became traffic. Red became disrupting police. And for me, something that kills me is to accuse the victim. Don't never do that. Biarahanga, please never do that. You brutalize a person and then you accuse him of provoking police. But you are the one brutalizing me. So Oscar, for me, I want to center on that. The rest, end corruption. Even when you read Museveni, end corruption. Even the 10-point program have end corruption. Job creation, everybody does. So this becomes a luxury because you can't live. If you go to Palestine today and you tell them good roads and good houses, they just want the guns to fall silent. Then the rest can follow.
Okay.
Stop abducting us. Stop brutalizing us. Stop putting us in a fridge. Stop shaving our
heads.
Our heads and beards. Putting us in a basement. Teaching us Runyankole. Then we can discuss the roads. We can discuss the youth who are unemployed. But before that, please, we can't go into that.
Martin Ravura seems to agree with you on Twitter. On X, formerly Twitter, says we have a national development plan. How do these manifestos feed into that? Let's stop for a quick break. Welcome back from the break. This is the Capital Gang, and when Moses Biarahanga is in the studio, we get mega yogurt. When he's not in the studio, we don't get. So it is our PDM.
It is the NRM
Manifesto
approach that they always say that these areas don't have services because they didn't vote for NRM. So they use the same approach. When Moses is not around, you don't get mega.
So Marcus is a private entrepreneur in Uganda. This is validation. He has
but Mr. Katara knows that even where NRM was not voted or didn't win, because there's no way we were not voted. Even where we didn't win. For the first 80 kilometers of roads, this they are working on. Now, recently the government got money through the Water Board Greater Kampala Metropolitan to work on 293 kilometers of roads, which includes those in Kampala, Wakiso, Umukono, and part of Mpigi. And most of them have been contracted out. Some are under procurement. But the first group of money, which was from ADB, the challenge was when the Kampala people were giving out tenders, they were giving somebody like 4 roads or 5, calling one lot, and when people didn't have capacity to do so, to the roads. But for the current one, I'm sure it will be done in a quicker period of time. Otherwise, almost all the roads in Kampala have been contracted out, or are in process of being contracted out. That's why you see some of the delays now, because there are some works going on. It would have been done much earlier. That was the problem, but at least it's not a question of lack of money.
Those are the gains that we are protecting. You have heard it from the horse's own mouth.
Benjamin Katana,
if you have 900 billion,
you requested for time to conclude on the manifesto, and the big question was, where's the money from?
Yeah, but particularly the question about the feeding program, that the cost. We are targeting 5 million learners every year, and our plan is to spend 1,500 on each on a daily. Of course, excluding the weekends when they don't go to school, and the estimated cost is about 1.7 trillion, which is not a lot of money. Yeah, the Honorable Semuju has stressed for you the money that is being wasted, but when you also add about 11 trillion that is lost corruption every year, you see that we have a lot of money, but the problem is that we have poor managers dealing with our money. The other aspect
Where will you
that
find better managers? Where do they come from?
from the same country, they just need to be led properly. Because the issue is that there's a lot of if you are a cow who is not supervised well by the PS, it means that you're going to do the funny things that he was talking about. If you're the PS that is not supervised well by the minister is not supervised well by the prime minister is not supervised well by the president, then you're going to have problems. That's the genesis of the dysfunctionality that is responsible for all those challenges. But the other aspect that is that I needed to point out is that the manifesto is almost 80% aligned with the National Development Plan 4, and therefore will be in position to align it well with the National Development Plan. The other aspect is that as a country we need to have, and it's part of our manifesto, we need to have a master plan for the country. That even when Dombo gets money and wants to build a hotel in Utareja, he will not build it where in future they will want to come and break it and say they want to build a ginnery. If you want to build a school, then the next day they will not come and set up a nightclub. That's why in Kampala today they pave the road, the next day they dig it up, because the development is not aligned with a master plan for the whole country. So we believe the other aspect that I would want to talk about is on the question of business environment, because we are talking about unemployment, and our promise is to work towards the creation of 10 million jobs by 2032. And the idea is that this is going to be achieved through creation of an enabling business environment through a number of interventions. One of them is the reduction of cost of power. Because if, for example, you want to promote cottage industries, then you are going to target a reduction of cost of power for domestic use. And the idea is that you're going to remove VAT on that power for domestic use, which will reduce the cost eventually from about 900 shillings to about 500 shillings. That is one aspect of VAT. The other aspect is renegotiating contracts, for example, with the people of Bujagari. And there's the government and the state. There can always be incentives for renegotiating with these companies.
I just want to understand something here about the NUP Manifesto. You can achieve all this in 5 years? The reason I'm asking the question is usually manifestos have blanket statements that we are going to do this, we are going to do that, but the implementation bit of it all is questionable. So because I'm seeing so many things, 11 themes, I think, and, in my mind, it just popped in my mind that is this all achievable in 5 years? Because that then means that the readiness of, hitting the ground running is something that would need to be to convince.
I would think so from what they've written. But also, if I have a mayor like Dr. Joseph Olusembi, he can do quite a lot. Alan here asked, who will you get to do these things? So if you are in power, you'd probably get a lot of things done.
I just think, again, the politics of the day doesn't allow for good people to be in positions where they can actually deliver.
That is
otherwise. Just take a look at the cabinet, and you will see what's going on there.
But Moses, before you ask, have you heard what Alan is saying?
Maybe Moses might be able to answer some of these questions.
Today we are looking at the NUP Manifesto. Now, you see, Alan is saying, Alan Katana is saying, they want to Benjamin, sorry. Benjamin Katana is saying that they want to feed. They are looking at feeding 5 million children. There are today 9.5 million children in the primary schools. Coming primary schools, 9.5 million children. Now, I don't know they are going to feed some Jewish children and leave out mine. Because if we are going to say we are feeding with 5 million children out of 9.5 million children, how is the selection going to be done?
I know
No, I said the 9.5 million children in government primary schools. Yeah, so you are going to leave Kampala is government. No, that's private. So is the tribe not part of that. So are you going to leave out some and feed some? Because then that's one too. we are on power, for instance, we have already reduced the cost of power after the buyout of Umeme to the large industrial producer, what we call extra large factories, who consume about 23% of the power produced. They are now getting power at 5.5 cents, and our program is bringing it down to 5 cents for all manufacturers in the next few, maybe 2 or so years after recapitalizing UEDCL. Now, for him, he's talking of removing VAT on electricity. Well, whether it was domestic, you see, you are talking on one hand reducing the income to the government, at the same time talking increasing expenditure. Because, okay, even the 1.7 trillion you want to feed on 5 million children, while there are 9.5 million children, others are going to leave them out. I don't know how you do the selection. That notwithstanding, where is the cutting? Because people talk about money wasted on corruption, but that money is meant to do something else. It's meant that people stole it, so the money or something like that. So, are you going to say we shall not spend on anything except on one? Because you need to give a detailed how, if you're going to say spend 1.7 trillion on school feeding of only 5 or half of the children, and leaving others to not be fed. We already are you confirming what your principals already said, that you are going to abolish PDM, for instance, so that you say money from PDM I'm going to put it here. Then you do the allocation. That would be better. You can say I'm going to spend so much. Yes, you can spend it, but where are you cutting?
Okay.
I think because our candidate in Rusoga was speaking in Rusoga, Moses may have misunderstood what he said, but there is no declaration from NUP that it's going to ban PDM. Well, you are at liberty. You are at liberty to do so. You are at liberty to do so.
Conclude.
Yeah. So it's very easy, because you see, he's saying you are cutting government income, but in cutting government income, you can actually expand government income. When you enable Moses, who has been producing
yogurt,
2 tons of yogurt. I don't know if that is how yogurt is calculated. You create an environment that will enable him to produce 200 tons. It means that he's now going to be able to pay more taxes on the income that he's earning.
You sound like Museveni. You're not in taxes. You talk like that. Because that's exactly what you would say, that I'm going to empower people to add value. So this is my problem. This is my problem with the way politics
The only difference, Alan, is that for us, we are not empowering people by giving them money.
You see, this is where the problem is.
But
I think
creating an
if I was to come up with a
environment
manifesto
them.
here, Oscar, I would only put one thing on that manifesto.
You should come up with one.
And that is
don't just
young people.
You meet the criteria.
Everything else is not as urgent as finding jobs for young people. There's a lot of platitudes, a lot of tautology, a lot of big talk, all of which doesn't land. The truth of the matter is
the employment opportunities you are talking about are not for all the people.
What you will do for the youth.
They are for young people.
Talk to me about what is an obvious, clear and present danger for the national security and unity of this country. And that is the fact that young people feel disenfranchised and left out of the equation. We're here discussing things that have absolutely nothing to do with young people in the country.
Let him finish.
They have absolutely nothing to do with young people. We're here discussing... Oh, listen, ultimately, talk to me about jobs.
When you're talking about feeding, are we talking about
No. Talk to me about getting young people who have been educated jobs, those who can work jobs.
But
talk to me about skilling these young people.
Put in there in manifesto, you have 2 things: that feeding and also creating.
Ultimately, NUP is a creation of different that word
of
young
NRM.
people who feel like
what
they
is
don't
the
have a
alternative
stake.
view that is different from what NUP is proposing?
An alternative, who feel like they don't have a stake in this country. They don't have a stake in this economy. Just show them that they actually have a stake and can make a meaningful contribution.
By creating an enabling environment that
right
enables
now,
them to start
all these
enterprises.
manifestos, all this politics is elitist and disconnected from the reality of things.
Okay. Dom.
Well, I just wanted to inform Alan that in Sudan they have young people, but they have run to Uganda. In many neighboring countries, they have young people who have run away. Even when jobs is very important, the fundamental thing for us in the national
I think, Honorable, when you talk about Sudan, I must say, this is a country I have a lot of interest in and I've covered very comprehensively. You do not gloss over the fact that there are young people there. You talk about a state that was not responsive to the plight of the young people. And you can go back to Bouazizi in Tunisia that resulted in the Arab Spring.
That's what I'm telling you.
So my point is, we need to center young people, or else they'll continue to be used by politicians as dispensable bodies in order to pursue their interests, in whichever way you look at it.
And that can be a time bomb.
Oscar, let me conclude with my point. I just wanted to inform Alan that even when we must talk about jobs, there is a reason why in the manifesto for the national resistance movement, peace and security is fundamental and point number one. Why? Because it is the underlying point. All the young people who have run away from the neighboring countries running here. They are looking for the peace and stability that is here. But where you want to get just a moment.
You can give me
where you want to get jobs that are. This is the NUP Manifesto, and has categorically identified 4 areas where the jobs are going to be gotten. The first one is commercial agriculture, and we're doing a lot to empower that. The second one is reindustrialization, and you can see what is happening in the industrial sectors and the others. The fourth is in the service sector. If you went now, the service sector is employing over 2 million people in Uganda, when the government of Uganda is employing only 400,000, like Sem Uganda told you. And the final one is in the ICT. Once we give education, give security, attract the private sector, and empower these areas, the young people are going to get jobs.
Okay.
Oscar, just a second, I'm sorry to interrupt. You see, Dombo selectively talks about children running from South Sudan to here. As of today, we have 170,000 girls and boys who have run to Saudi Arabia to be askaris and house girls, a number bigger than Butambala district that has 140,000. So as they run from Sudan to come here, they are also running from Uganda to go elsewhere.
Those are creation of opportunities, because now they are looking for them.
Let me just add something. Has any manifesto here covered something to do with the vocational and technical institutes? Yeah. Because when I move around, there's a place like in Nakawa, in Ntinda.
It's in the manifesto, really.
Where there is a place, but I don't see people there. I forget the
engineer. I don't know whether my brother has been the.
No, both of them
has had an opportunity to follow the presidential candidate under the national resistance movement.
Oscar, are you in charge of this program?
Yes.
Okay, let's go on.
Yes.
Mr. Katana here is saying that you haven't.
You have not read the manifesto.
Honestly, I haven't.
I shall send it to you.
Because anyway, I haven't. But for me, and I've glossed through your manifesto though, but for me, with respect, unless you're telling me how you're going to put money into the hands of young people,
I can answer that.
Unless you're going to tell me how university students are being prepared for life after university,
their skills.
Unless you're going to tell me how young people are going to get skills that are marketable worldwide, so that when they leave to go,
we have a comprehensive program on
they have
vocational training.
Alan,
no, but you see,
Alan, both their manifestos have those things.
Yes, but
it's down to implementation.
But he's a citizen who is not exercising his duty.
Yeah. But I want us to change, to move on, and get some updates. So, you, the first person campaigning, Joseph Orusimbi, what have you been doing? What does campaign mean for you?
Campaign for me means passing the right message across to the voters to understand what it is that they are going to face.
Where do you find them?
You find them in the shops, in the homes, in their trading places. That's where they are.
So are you walking around like a madman, entering shops? And
yes, I am. My campaign is actually starting, and that is the intention. I'm going to be walking door to door. I'm going to be going to people and talking to them about this. I need to let them know what
rallies?
No rallies. I'm just going to talk to people door to door. No rallies. I don't want school children to come to the field and they're the only ones listening. It's not a good thing.
Is that below?
But also, maybe the campaigns have become too expensive.
The doors were entering our children.
No, but it's important.
Yeah.
It's important to package the message rightly for the voter. What is it? But you see now,
so package it here because your voters are listening.
Yes, like I had said earlier, the youth are a very big issue.
So what do you want to do?
And now
today?
the youth, the plan is to actually put in place centers where we can actually give up their skills, do mentorship programs with them, and at the end of the day, they become job creators, not just only for looking for jobs, job creation by themselves.
And the
that is
mayor
a very
can do
important
that?
thing. Yes,
The mayor
why
can
not?
do it? The mayor can
Why
do
not?
that?
It's about spearheading a program. I've done this before, not in mayoral position, but I've done it elsewhere, and it works. And I've actually done it in the northern part of this country. I ran a program which was about 10 million euros, and we did something over 7 years. So for me, that alone shows me implementation is a possible thing. The question now would be, who comes on board? And good enough, I know how that can happen.
You have Semuju as well.
And of course, with Honorable Semuju, we can work together and make this happen. But it is a very important thing. Youth is the first thing. I have two other issues that I'm also looking at. Second, of course, is transparency. Transparent leadership. Where I moved around, people are saying
Nigeria Road should be also your number 3.
yes, you see, roads are part of it. That's number 3. Actually, I actually sent you my manifesto. It is transparent leadership and good access, road access, not access, because also the central government plays a big role when it comes to the main roads. But I'm talking access roads. So, transparency leadership. Let me tell you, people say, ground. We don't want people who don't see. Now, what does that mean to us? It's not just about someone coming and waving at them that I'm here, I'm still mayor, hello, how are you? It's about seeing things being done and then getting information that it is happening. Not at the beginning of a campaign.
Okay.
That, oh, I did this for you, I did that for you.
I will look for another mayoral candidate so that I'm not accused of total bias. But Honorable Semuju, updates on your campaign. PFF. How many PFF and yourself?
It's when you were in a campaign period, almost everybody is on his own. You just we are aided by the social media, to hear from each other. But all my candidates are in their respective electoral areas.
Do you give them a phone call? You give them
We communicate. We have WhatsApp groups. We keep updating each other. What you are going through, what you need the others to help you with. In my case, I have campaigned the last 3 times the same way. I hold rallies and smaller meetings. I don't do what Walusim is doing, knocking at people's doors. That one I don't do.
But you did it once? At some point in time?
I have never.
Oh.
In fact, I met someone in Gayaza when it was still the same constituents, and he told me, I'm going to vote for you because the others are misbehaving, knocking my gate. He said, I'm not going to vote. So he told me, so you have earned my vote. I don't like this chaos, knocking my gate and you come and say you want a vote. So when you are campaigning, you need to be very careful. In Chile, we have 100,000 homesteads, 100,000, and near 500,000 people.
That's a whole city.
And that's why, frankly, I didn't know that he was a candidate. Almost a month to go for voting. I didn't know.
It's never too late.
Because you see, campaign is about visibility. Because campaign fuels itself. In the last election, with the restrictions, with COVID, the Honorable Chagulanyi was new. There are many areas where I didn't reach. They were able to vote for him. So it's not that when you knock at the door, then they will vote for you. So there are things that you do, and I may not go into details, but I am campaigning. I usually hold rallies on Sundays, meetings other days, and visit areas. I
have a question for Honorable Semuju. In terms of parties, I know I'm running as an independent. Okay, Walusimbi independent. Honorable Semuju, from a party level, what we are seeing is that you're jointly campaigning with, for example, the mayor, PFF,
and General Mugisha.
I don't know about that, but at least I know for PFF and I know for NUP. But in such a case, I'm just wondering, you've built credibility in the municipality. Would you rather, in your view, go and stand alone, or are you ready to actually tag along with someone to tag along with you who has a totally different history, and you have your history? It's about managing a brand. So isn't that something that would bother you or any other party?
I am actually shocked because you sound a very serious person. I am wondering why you chose to stand as independent and remain almost obscure. I am hearing you for the first time.
Everything has its
everything has its time.
Have been part
Benjamin Katana, how is your campaign going?
They have been part of the platform that will give you a foundation before you start.
The campaign.
I have to tell you that I know Alusimi well and all his
I am
family.
really shocked because we've been looking for candidates
And
he's there hiding. So here
The campaigns are going on well, Oscar.
Yeah.
Our candidate was in West Nile this week and will be coming to some parts of Kampala.
I'm surprised you got such big crowds in Bara.
Well, our candidates
from Kampala to Nekongo, you didn't see them.
They went with it?
You know that comment does not
Oga well.
No. It exposes the lack of depth on the part of NRM, not Dombo, the individual. Because for anybody, because they have been, most of them have been throwing it around. For anybody to think that a person can have thousands of people walk from Kampala to Mbarara to Koboko, I think that person needs to be helped with the.
So generally, are you
the campaigns the turn-up is quite exciting. Of course, we have had challenges.
By this time in the last election, you were quite unhappy, but this time round, you are satisfied that the election.
No, we are still unhappy. Yes, but we choose to focus especially on the positives. We, of course, have had challenges. You have mentioned the events in Mbarara. Everywhere our candidate has gone, many young people are arrested. I'm told now in Arua they have arrested over 30 young people. In Mbarara they arrested people in hundreds.
So those are some of the challenges you're encountering.
Of course, we also have logistical challenges, and many times we have police interfering with, for example, you find that this place, other candidates have been using this place because of its strategic location in some towns. But when it comes to our candidates, they want to take him 10 kilometers out of the town. So those disruptions in one way or the other affect our planning. You have even certain meetings and agreed with the police commanders, then the RDC comes and says, the RDC, this is my district, this is not going to happen here. So we have had those challenges. Of course,
just final sentence, because I want to go for a break.
The events leading to the campaigns, because the campaigns, electioneering is not restricted to the campaigns, but the restrictions that we face prior to the campaigns affect how the campaigns play out.
Okay. After the break, I'll allow Moses a few comments and then we go to final topic of the day. Welcome back to the Capital Gang. Just concluding on updates in elections. Moses Viranga.
Well,
Emmanuel Dombo, what's happening in your campaigns?
I don't know. On updates, I will leave that to Honorable Dombo, but Benjamin here was saying that when they go up country, they change their routes and so forth. I think the good thing, I and him have been meeting at the Electoral Commission for representing our candidates, and with the police presence in those meetings, and the police has been quite complaining that you don't go to your scheduled venues which you have agreed with them. They have been saying it in the Electoral Commission meetings. You have not said no and produced evidence. They have said that you say we want to have a rally at this place. You end up going on the street so that you can get a good picture showing that because the street is narrow, it will show people that you are so many, but you are in the street. The police has been raising this matter. It's not a crime, but the point I'm raising is that that's what I'm saying. That in those EC meetings, the police has said, he's accusing the police who are not here, that they don't allow them to go to their venues. But the fact that I have been in a meeting with them, and chaired by EC. But you have seen, but you see what you have seen, you don't see what in the background. The police is saying, we agree on a venue, you don't go there. And when Kakarana says it here, he doesn't say we were going to go to this venue in this place, but we didn't go there eventually. But the police is saying,
I had with you, I read that matter in their presence.
and the police were saying you don't go to your venues. It's scheduled. Okay. The Honorable Obo can comment on our progress. I wanted to answer him.
Thank you very much, Oscar. For us, yesterday the candidate concluded the rallies in eastern Uganda, specifically in Busoga sub-region. We have so far covered Lango sub-region, save for the 3 districts we are yet to go back and complete. We have also done West Nile, Achori, Karamoja, Teso, Bugesu, Sebei, Buked, and Busoga.
So you're speaking for the president?
Absolutely, yes. On Monday, we are going to begin Chigezi. And that tour of the Western leg will take us to Chigezi, Ankole, Rwenzori sub-region, and Bunyoro. And I want to tell you that our message throughout the campaigns has been the same. And it has been simplified. The gains have been simplified by the president, so that the ordinary person can follow and understand what NRM has done and what we are building on in order to leap to the next higher middle income status of this country. But the campaigns are so far so good. The turn up has been massive. But finally, something which is innovative and very interesting. At the end of every tour of a region, the president has a meeting with the local journalists who ask him random questions. And you do get surprised with the intellect of our people. They are very, very intelligent and they raise very interesting questions. Like when Buked, some young man asked about the status of health and what was being done, and the president picked interest and said, can you bring the contact so that the PS can be in touch and we find out. So the president uses the intellectuals who wrote the manifesto, but he also uses the fourth estate in order to interact and find out what is the feeling of the population and what is good, which they can raise so that can be clarified by the campaigns.
Okay. I want to interrogate maybe at a later time. Having 12 unopposed MPs already, that's something to discuss. But beginning with you, Moses, maybe you clarify, since you write a lot of things that the president says. On the ocean, because social media is awash with how we are plotting to take over the ocean. The CDF, perhaps in jest, said it would take him just a few hours and only a few people to make that route happen. What was the intention behind the president's call?
See, I don't know. Some of you people either don't understand metaphors or something. Oh, then Uganda is in problems. If all of you are like that, because see, oceans are international. Our waters are to be accessed to. That's what the president meant. He said, see, when Uganda is landlocked and we have no access to an ocean through which we have to sell our goods, it's dangerous. So his theme of regional integration, if Uganda, Kenya, or the EAC was one country, there will be no issue of access to the sea, because as the country will be accessing it. That's what he was behind his theme, that we need integration so that we have such access to an ocean. In case tomorrow it has ever happened, we have a problem in Kenya and our goods cannot go or come from Kenya, and that becomes a problem for the country. Or if a country comes and says you cannot go through me, that can cause war. That's what he said. So a country like United States of America, for instance, which all the 50 states are one country, they have no problem of access to the ocean. So basically what the president meant was we need integration for many other aspects, but also to have access to the sea, free access to the sea as a country or as a region. So he has been talking about regional integration and the integration of Africa, so that if we became one state, either at regional level or at a continental level, issues of access to ocean won't be coming up. But using social media, you are interpreting it. What someone was saying, where's my ocean? The ocean has to be. We have to access it. Otherwise, how Uganda survive without access to an ocean?
Yeah,
Uganda export and import. Yeah, simple.
Alan, yeah, go on. As Alan gets the mic.
Oscar, when God created the oceans, He also created the continents. He did not create the boundaries and the borders. So the oceans, people in the continents had direct access to the oceans. But the subsequent creation of the borders created a disadvantage, altering what God had created naturally, even using common sense, without even going into what President Museveni labors to do. But he also emphasized the issue of strategic security. Because he said, how can Uganda develop a navy? But if everybody must have small armies, yet through integration, if we became a federation, the Federation of East Africa, and we became one state, we'll become bigger, we'll become stronger. We can even go get arsenals that wouldn't do because of the limitations that we have.
Uganda needs a navy?
Yes, I was present actually when he answered that
The man
question.
said he's tired of talking to this one in Kenya, talking to this one.
But actually, the talking
what he
is
has
not
been
about
doing.
access. The talking is about trade. Access is.
Start with Alan. When you hear what President Museveni said, and as these two gentlemen describing,
They are now sanitizing.
what's wrong with that ambition?
I think President Museveni has been around for 40 years, and it's very difficult. It's not that difficult to understand what President Museveni is saying. If you take an interest and you don't politicize it, and you don't you're not facetious, and you're not trying to score silly points. I think it's pretty obvious what the president said, and I'd like to add to that and say that there is another looming war for fresh water, because this is the reality of things. Access to the sea is important if countries are supposed to transform. Access to fresh water is going to be important, and we can already see what's going on in Ethiopia with Ethiopia and Egypt. These are facts. And for someone to then turn this into rubbish, it's nonsense. President Museveni said access to sea is going to, and if you watched the war in Ethiopia, if you watched what was going on, there was a time when the people in Tigray had no access and they were locked in. What did? They tried to create access through Djibouti, or to the port in Djibouti. So it is not an aberration. It is nothing new. It is just an opportunity to banter and for lazy brains to engage and to find something to do with themselves. It is a fact.
Benjamin Katana, where is your lazy brain?
No, first of all,
Go on.
first of all is that access to the ocean is an international right guaranteed under the UN Convention on Law of Seas. So the difficult arguments that Uganda has been having with Kenya are not about access to the ocean. They are largely about trade. For example, Uganda has facilities it has failed to develop at the coast. The disagreement it always runs into with Kenya is with the Kenya Ports Authority is about facilities of Kenya that Uganda uses. The argument is not about access to the ocean.
Can I just, Mr. Katana, if you don't mind? In the 80s, there was a standoff between Uganda and Kenya around 1987, where Daniel Arap Moi threatened to stop Uganda's access to the port, in part because of the problems that they were having. So there is a threat to the hinterland by Kenya. Should Kenya decide to close that access?
That's why even Moi could just threaten. He was like Museveni has threatened, like Museveni has threatened war, but there is not going to be a military confrontation with Kenya over access to the sea, because the world, because first of all, access to high seas is considered as one of the shared inheritances of mankind. It is not, high seas do not belong to any country. But
as a convention, or?
So yes, as a convention. So Uganda has access rights, but Kenya has sovereignty over the territory. But also Kenya. So Kenya it is a transit nation from the coast to Uganda, just like Uganda is a transit nation for goods coming from the coast. These are international routes. If Uganda, you see like how we were having arguments with Rwanda the other day. They were cleared outside the law. but I don't think there is any pending war. The Federation of East Africa, of course, would come in as a solution to these problems. But the impediments are also on account of having these countries operate on different pages. You have some countries with challenges like other countries, but the structure of the state is independent of individuals. That is why he's complaining that now today he's negotiating with Kibaki, the next day he's negotiating with Moi. But for him, he has been a constant factor because he has become Uganda. No, but Semuju came yesterday. You cannot. When Semuju became an MP, Museveni had been a president for over 20 years. Yeah. So
okay.
What's the difference between you and Museveni?
So I think while he may have had a point, the problem could be how he presented it, especially in when you're dealing with people that do not have information about matters of that nature.
Okay. Honorable Semuju, Alan says it is idle brain, lazy people, it's silliness. But I've also found out, remember, I retold you the story of getting a South Africa visa, that there are some protocols Uganda has not met.
South Africa, man.
And so Katana is telling us that also with the port, there are some protocols we've not met. Have you looked into such things? And why has this become a joke?
See, to be a president, you need to be very careful. There is no room for being casual. And that's why Museveni is paying the price for casually talking about a matter for which Alan is accusing people of being lazy. And I have known that every statement you make will attract a response, sometimes a very difficult one. Because the point Museveni is addressing is a legitimate point, but casually addressing it. Dombo says the Almighty created. The Almighty maybe is the one who has enabled us to have these borders, for us to have discipline. Because you can't live in a country where you want to live like you are the only one existing. And these are the humps that we have created. Good neighborliness. You must at least have something you must have a reason to work with Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, and others. Otherwise, assuming Museveni had access to everything that he wants, that Museveni would even stop people from accessing the ocean if he was Kenya. The way I know Museveni, he would be stopping or assuming that access it is Rwanda. You will now be going through another country. So here we must thank Kenya. They haven't behaved like Uganda. They haven't behaved like. But on many occasions we are almost at war with Rwanda. So Kenya has behaved very well. They may have problems. Their behavior is different from Uganda that wants to go and invade and take over Nairobi in 1 week, that abducts Kenyans, that violates Kenyan sovereignty. So the point that Museveni was addressing is legitimate. If you have issues, I don't know, because Museveni has accused people in the past of addressing legitimate issues in the wrong forum. I'm not even sure who he was addressing. You have an East African cooperation structures. Yeah, that's the point. That when you have, I have covered Museveni as a journalist. One time we asked him a question when there was a visiting head of state, and he said he actually turned into Uganda. He said, and then he went with the English. After that, he said,
that is statecraft, I told you.
Maybe he has now grown very old not to see this. Well, I have told you, and not once.
Haven't you heard what Trump says to journalists? How can you embarrass our guests like that?
Trump is a madman. Museveni isn't. Yeah. So I am shocked. Yeah. I am shocked that Museveni has started being casual. Maybe all the people are. Because these issues, he has platforms to address them, so they don't cause too much debate, and they don't cause Alan to accuse people engaged in the debate. So, but it is legitimate that you don't want Kenya. Let me tell you, Oscar, when Uganda wanted to import oil directly, who had been blocked by Kenyan businessmen who were the middlemen. They said they must.
And the Ugandans also.
Yes.
Conniving.
I don't want to accuse Ugandans because the Kenyan side had some contracts.
On both sides.
And they said we have contracts to be the one to sell you oil. And we had to go into negotiations. The good thing is that you now have a mafia-like heads of state in Africa. Museveni is very close to Ruto. They must have sorted it that way, and the matter was resolved. So if you didn't have a relationship between Museveni and Ruto, I have a feeling by now we would still be getting the brokers to sell oil to Uganda fuel. I am yet to establish whether the value that was promised, that when we import directly, because the prices haven't gone down. But in farming, you are told they are going to go down. They haven't. They are just, maybe stable. So yes, Museveni had a legitimate issue. He casually addressed it to the wrong audience, and that's why he has attracted this sort of response.
Joseph Olusim, Dr. Joseph Olusim, it's these are your voters now. I hope you don't go calling them silly idle minds. Like Alan Kasuja has done.
We shall wait for when he comes for votes. We shall remind him that he called
I think these issues are of diplomatic nature. It's unfortunate that there is misconstruing of messages, and especially in this day and age where we have this social media, people will interpret things 1,000 times.
You can try to incite.
To incite, to also, bring in, exciting topics and all that kind of thing. But like Honorable Samuja said, that's an illegitimate issue, but probably the way it came out. And that's something we need to be very sensitive about as participants in regional issues. I mean, it's the same thing like the Nile. If you tried to put a dam on the Nile right now, Egypt will say, hey, wait, what's going on here? So it's a legitimate issue indeed. But I think more diplomacy would a more diplomatic approach would have.
No issue there.
There is no issue. But I'm saying the language maybe is where now the whole issue came in. But that's all I can say really.
Yeah.
The rest have said it all.
Conclusions. Moses Perahanga, kick us off. What do you see going ahead? Is NRM going to win 98% of the vote?
NRM is going to win highly. I've said that before. And I remember, I think was it on the last one of the shows here, I was showing you that the campaign infrastructure is much wider than the presidential candidates themselves. If you look at the MP candidates, we have candidates in each and every constituency.
In some constituencies, you even have two.
The party next, we have some independents. The party next to us, which will be Katana's, has only 59% candidates. I mean, in the constituencies, they have 59% of the constituencies where they have candidates. So they have left 41%. Well, but if they don't have papers or something else, that's their problem, because that's not mine. So some are going out, that's true. Like the one in Nebi, she had forged the signatures of other people who denied it, but that's another matter. So,
which is older than.
So FDC doesn't have, in fact I said the one next to us is NUP with 59% candidates in all the constituencies. If you go to local government level at LC5, the NRM has candidates in all the districts and the cities. NUP has only 33% of them. When you go to the lower LC3 candidates and so forth, they are about 30 to 90%. So they have left all the campaign structure to us. So when somebody is campaigning in Kanungu, in Arua, in Kisoro, in Busia, in Butaleja, the NRM is there, the representation. Because somebody is campaigning as a councillor for the local council, but they also campaigning for Museveni, they're campaigning for the other MP. That's why we win massively.
Thank you.
So if you lack that infrastructure, you can't think of winning presidential elections.
With such might, why is it necessary to tear down posters of the opposition and so on?
It is illegal.
Can you talk to your people?
It is illegal for anybody to go and tear down the posters of anybody, and for us, we want to encourage the police, the law enforcers, to do their work. Because for us, there are some people who have been tearing our posters, and we have been wondering what the police has been doing.
Yours.
But what will continue? Yeah.
Where?
Yeah, at
Like
night,
where?
where you move at night, you'll see posters without eyes. People go and pluck out the eyes, and then make somebody look funny. You make somebody look funny. But on the level of campaigns and the level of participation, what I've noted is that because of what Alan described at the beginning of this talk show, that the campaign is a little bit boring, and there is nothing fancy about it.
In a good way.
Yes, it has created an opportunity for people to talk and give reasons why they should be elected. Nobody is accusing the other because of tear gas, because somebody has been beaten, but people now can come up and explain what their reasons are.
Okay.
Like Honorable Katana has been here talking for his manifesto. Their manifesto, we have responded, and this is civility. And by the time people in Uganda discover the depth of democracy in Uganda and the level at which they will be enjoying it, is going to surprise and beat everybody in the country.
Thank you.
And you can see how religiously President Museveni goes around the country, sleeping in Karamoja, sleeping wherever he goes to look for votes until he finishes.
Semuju, 1 minute. Honorable Semuju, 1 minute.
I am only praying that we continue like this. So the restrictions and brutality is not compared to what they have done in the past. Not that it is absent completely.
Or what they had for their own primaries.
Yeah. But this is not as bad. So even when you have something as small as this, Dombo, we thank you. Because in the past you would be killing people who disappeared or haven't seen them. The kidnappings, by the way, continue. But this time, carefully done.
Okay.
We are not kidnapping.
Joseph Walusimbi, a minute.
Yeah, Mayor, to be indeed. Yes, of course, we would like this to continue that way. It's like Honorable Dombo said, it's an opportunity for people to actually say what they're going to do, not just to ride on a wave. Hope, the other time there was that wave issue, and actually people started to regret why they chose certain leaders because of the wave. Wherever you see an umbrella, tick, 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 tick. So this time round, I think hopefully it will be different. It will be something that people do because they have heard a message and they resonate with it.
You want to reach out to the umbrella people as well to come and vote for you?
I think I'm next to one of them right here. The message has gone across well. And
we are talking about
my symbol, because as an independent,
and when we defeat you, you will say
Sawa Yona. The clock.
Alan Kasuja, Double J, close us out.
I think we have a beautiful country. Uganda is a great country. I have traveled around the world, traveled across Africa, and I would never change Uganda for anything. These politicians, this is their season, but do not allow them to mess up our country. We have a good thing going. We have a very, very good thing going here, and we just need to build on it. The fundamentals are in place. We are ready to take off, and we should take off. We all have a duty to our country, and that duty, I'm still talking, must be, we all have a duty to make sure we exercise that obligation.
Thank you so much to the listeners of the Capital Gang. Thank you, the gangsters, Honorable Semuju, Honorable Dombo, Moses Piarohanga, Benjamin Katana, Alan Kasuja, and Obi of Capital Radio, and Dr. Joseph Walusimbi. Star Cafe, thank you. S4 exams are done. P7 was done a while ago. S6 approaching conclusion, and DJ Mega Yogurt, thank you. DJ Nyowe is next, and I am Oscar Semoyamsoke, and I shall see you next week.